The first thing I heard was a machine telling me I was still alive. Beep, beep, beep. My eyes slowly opened, but everything around me was white, cold, and unfamiliar. I tried to move, and pain shot through my body. Then I saw her sitting beside my hospital bed, the mother of the woman who had broken my heart. My ex's mother, Margaret, was holding my hand with tears running down her face. But what frightened me most wasn't that she was there. It was the small envelope she was clutching against her chest. It had my name written across it in Emma's handwriting. Emma had been gone from my life for almost a year. And according to Margaret, the truth inside that envelope was the reason she had let me believe the worst about the woman I once planned to marry. Before we continue, if you believe everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness for more emotional stories about love, forgiveness, kindness, and second chances. My name is Daniel, and before that hospital room, I believed I had finally accepted that Emma was gone from my life. We had been together for 4 years. We had built our relationship slowly, through ordinary moments that somehow became unforgettable. Sunday mornings at the little cafe near our apartment, late-night walks when neither of us wanted to go home, grocery shopping that somehow turned into 2-hour adventures, and quiet evenings when we would sit together without saying anything. I thought our future was already written. I was saving money for a ring, and I had secretly chosen a date when I planned to propose. Then, without warning, Emma changed. She stopped smiling. She stopped answering my messages. She began coming home late, and whenever I asked if something was wrong, she would tell me she was tired. I thought perhaps she was losing interest in me. I asked if there was someone else. She cried when I asked that question, but she never explained why. One evening, she finally told me it was over. There was no dramatic fight. No shouting. No accusation. She simply stood in front of me with tears in her eyes and said that she couldn't continue our relationship. She told me I deserved someone better and asked me not to look for her. I couldn't understand it. I begged her to tell me what I had done, but she wouldn't. Her mother, Margaret, was standing in the hallway that night. I remember looking at her, hoping she would explain what Emma couldn't. Instead, Margaret lowered her eyes. That silence broke something inside me. I walked away believing Emma had stopped loving me. For months, I struggled. I couldn't sleep properly. I avoided our favorite places. I stopped listening to the songs we used to love. Even ordinary things reminded me of her. A coffee cup, a certain perfume, a photograph appearing unexpectedly on my phone. I tried dating again, but every attempt ended the same way because a part of me was still waiting for an explanation. Then, one rainy evening, my life changed again. I was driving home from work when another car suddenly crossed into my lane. I remember the blinding headlights, the sound of the horn, and the violent crash. After that, there was nothing. When I woke up in the hospital, Margaret was beside me. At first, I thought I was dreaming. Then she squeezed my hand. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were swollen, and her face had lost the confident warmth I remembered. She told me that the accident had been serious but that the doctors were hopeful. I tried to ask why she was there, but speaking was difficult. Instead, she placed the envelope on my chest. My name was written on it. I recognized Emma's handwriting immediately. My heart began pounding. Margaret told me she had carried that envelope for nearly a year. Emma had given it to her shortly before she disappeared from my life. She had instructed her mother not to give it to me unless something happened that made hiding the truth impossible. My accident had become that moment. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. The letter began with an apology. Emma wrote that she had never stopped loving me. I had to stop reading. Those words were impossible. They didn't fit the story I had spent months telling myself. I continued. Emma explained that shortly before our breakup, she had discovered she was seriously ill. She had been terrified. Doctors had warned her that treatment would be difficult and uncertain. She had watched her own mother fall apart with fear, and then she thought about me. She knew I would stay. That was exactly what frightened her. Emma believed I would sacrifice everything to take care of her. She feared that if her condition became worse, would spend years regretting the life I had given up for her. So she made the cruelest decision she could imagine. She made me hate her. She deliberately became distant. She stopped answering my calls. She acted as though our relationship meant nothing. She wanted me to believe that she had simply fallen out of love. Margaret had helped her keep the secret. The letter explained that Emma had entered treatment in another city. Some days were hopeful. Other days were terrifying. She wanted to call me constantly, but every time she reached for her phone, she remembered why she had pushed me away. Then I reached the final pages. Emma was recovering. Her treatment had worked better than expected, but she wasn't ready to return to my life. She believed I had probably moved on. She wrote that she didn't deserve to interrupt my happiness. But there was one sentence that destroyed me. She wrote that she still kept the photograph of us beside her bed. I couldn't hold back my tears. Margaret finally told me the rest. Emma was alive. She had been living quietly while recovering, and Margaret had visited her regularly. After hearing about my accident, Margaret couldn't keep the secret anymore. She called Emma and told her that I was awake. Emma had asked one question. She wanted to know whether I hated her. Margaret told her the truth. She didn't know. The next morning, the hospital room door opened. Emma stood there. For several seconds, I couldn't breathe. She looked thinner. Her hair was shorter. There were faint scars near her wrist from treatment, and she carried herself carefully, as though she had learned not to trust her own body. But her eyes were the same. The same eyes I had fallen in love with. She began crying before she reached the bed. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to demand answers. I wanted to tell her that she had destroyed me. And I did. I told her about the nights I couldn't sleep. I told her how many times I wondered what I had done wrong. I told her that pretending not to love someone was not protection, it was another kind of pain. Emma listened without defending herself. Then she apologized. Not once. Not casually. She apologized for every lie, every unanswered call, every night she allowed me to believe that I wasn't enough. And for the first time, I saw how much pain she had been carrying too. Forgiveness didn't happen that day. It took time. My recovery lasted several weeks. Emma visited whenever she could. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we sat in silence. Sometimes she would leave before I woke up because she was afraid I would feel pressured. Margaret continued visiting too. One afternoon, I asked her why she had kept the secret for so long. She looked at me and said that she had promised her daughter she would protect her. Then she admitted that she had also spent months regretting the promise. She had watched me suffer from a distance, knowing the truth but being unable to tell me. That was when I realized that secrets don't only hurt the people who are kept in the dark. They also become heavy for the people who carry them. Months passed. My body healed slowly. My heart healed even slower. Emma and I didn't immediately become a couple again. Instead, we started from the beginning. We talked honestly. We learned to communicate. We stopped assuming that protecting someone meant making decisions for them. One evening, after one of my final hospital checkups, Emma and I walked outside together. The sunset was turning the sky gold. She took my hand, but she didn't ask me for anything. She simply held it. And I realized something. Sometimes love isn't about finding a perfect person. Sometimes it is about two imperfect people learning how to stop running from difficult truths. A year later, Emma and I returned to the little cafe where our story had begun. Margaret was sitting at the next table, smiling as she watched us. There was no grand proposal that day. No dramatic promise. Just coffee, laughter, and the quiet feeling that perhaps we had finally earned the right to hope again. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in forgiveness, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach people who may need a little hope when life feels impossible. Before the story ends, comment "second chance" if you believe love can survive even the deepest misunderstandings when two people finally choose honesty and forgiveness. Because sometimes, the person who breaks your heart isn't trying to destroy you. Sometimes they're fighting a battle you cannot see. And sometimes, the greatest secret isn't that someone still loves you. It's that they never stopped.